Coming up on May 1st, we are so lucky to have two performances by Jay and Jo. Starting in the afternoon, we have a matinee called Recovering Hope, and then in the evening, we have something called the Victory Tour. So I am welcoming to our interview now, Janaya and Jolissa. Thank you both for joining me today. Let's start really easy. I don't know who wants to take which questions. You guys just jump on. I'm sure they're used to just being like, I'll go this and I'll talk on that. But I'm going to start just kind of asking what the last year has been like with COVID and what do artists do? Because I know what I've been doing, but I'm not a musician. So, so what have you guys been up to?
Well, when everything hit, we had, where were we at? We were just under a year out of the studio. We had planned to release a album last summer and go on a big tour, and we were like just full steam ahead with all of that. We had more shows than I think we ever have had in the spring. We were living in the same city, which was awesome and a change for us. We were living in the same house at that point. And we had all of these big plans. Of course, everything very quickly fizzled out. And, it was so obvious to the whole music community that everything was just kind of dying, that I don't even think us and a lot of the venues connected until well after the fact, like well after our concerts were supposed to happen. It was just this great blanket of silence over everything. So we both moved back to the farm for a while, and then we just kind of had to decide, are we gonna still release this or not? And we decided to go forward with it. We're still kind of working through the mixes and mastering and all of that fun stuff. So I'm glad that we had already been in the studio, so we had all of this material to work with while everything was shut down, and decided to go for it, and without a tour. So this Rawlinson show is our debut live. It's so surreal. So we're really thankful to be able to, especially in Prince Albert, our home city, to be there. But it's crazy. It's been, we just threw the album out into the world. It's been great hearing the response, and but we're really excited to play again. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Melissa, you kind of got the same kind of reaction to that whole last year, and what the heck even happened there?
Yeah, it's been really strange, and really strange for artists to try and find new ways to create and get your content out into the world. And I think also it's been a huge challenge for people to just keep up, to find the stamina to continue being creative. And I think in a lot of cases for people, it's even just what you create is changing, just like how, just as a consequence of your life changing so much. So yeah, it's been a weird time for musicians and creatives all around. So kudos to anyone who can keep going with it. It's hard.
So you guys have started, you guys have been in the music industry for so long. I know no one really starts off going, oh, I'm going to spend my life in the studio. You guys start off wanting to perform, like you want to be in front of people and sharing it, making it the communal experience that live music is. So do you just kind of look at what your expectations were? Do you feel disappointed that you had to wait this long to celebrate this new album with a live audience? Or do you think maybe it gave you a bit more time to get ready? Or is it just like, I'm just so glad to be doing something that I would take it any way I could? So what is your kind of opinion on that?
Yeah, for me, I love the performance of things, I think, more than anything else, even more than songwriting or the musicianship of it. So yeah, it wouldn't matter if it was 5 people, I'd be excited. So we're really looking forward to the show. Yeah.
Janaya, same opinion?
Yeah, it's all of those things. Disappointed, and of course we've had a long time for these songs to sink in, and they actually, it's funny, I can't really imagine how the album would have landed without all of this going on, because the songs ended up just being really weirdly attuned to kind of like what we're experiencing now, very poignantly. And so there's a bit of sweetness in every hardship, like there's been a lot of it's been a really grounding experience and humbling, really like distilling our priorities and what we kind of want to do as artists, and just really it kind of was a weird experience of all of a sudden this big part of your identity as a person and how you express yourself is just totally thwarted and stunted. So it really was just like an interesting human experience to all of a sudden have such a big part of your outlet like truncated, and you have to be more than even an artist as a person, like there's has to be more to you, and you have to find other ways to create. And I think that's what both of us have been trying to do in the silence. And but we're so excited to play. We're going to say that every single question you ask.
Excellent. And I like hearing that. That's fantastic. So let's talk about your discography, because this isn't your first album, right? You guys have another album out. Who wants to introduce us to, remind us of the sound of that one?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Sorry. So our first album is called Grounded in Light, and it was released 2017. And so we went into the recording studio, I think, a week after I graduated high school. So I think it sounds more youthful, and I think the themes are, I wouldn't say more naive. I think they were honest, but we were just different people, and we were younger, and I think we've experienced a lot more in the last few years. And I think if you compare the two albums, you can hear that. Yeah, it's a fun album. It's quaint, not in a belittling way, but it's fun. Yeah,
that's great. So that's nice, because that kind of goes right into my next question. Was going to be, how do you compare it to the Victory album? But that's good to hear that you can see your own growth. That's really interesting. I know you kind of look back at old high school pictures or whatever, and you're like, that was okay. Well, that was the thing, I guess. But you see how everybody changes, right? Nobody's like they were. So that's an interesting way to show development of character, let's say. It's a really creative way to show it. That's lovely. So for that album, do you remember what you guys were doing to get it out there, or was it just like such an exciting thing to have it done? So it was just like, oh, we did this thing, and I can see you can still buy it on your website and everything else. Was there a lot of celebration around it? Was there a big show? Did you guys have big album release party?
Yeah, we did have an album release show in PA as well, and it was at the Old Rock Trout.
Okay,
cafe. Yeah. So we stuffed it really, really, really tight, and it was so hot. Our band almost passed out. It was really bad. Yeah, it was warm. Yeah, but it was so fun. And then we hopped on the Via Rail train, and we went to Halifax and played some shows. We played on the train, and then we played some shows along the way. Yeah, it was
that's
fun.
really cool. That's totally different. I didn't know that. So how do you guys feel that you kind of had come from a musical legacy as far as our region is concerned? People definitely know the family name. Do you feel like it would have been as big as it has been if it was just you two on your own, or do you really feel like the family bringing everything up really helped and made it easier to kind of find your own way and find your own voice?
Yeah, it's hard to like speculate how it would have been. I think for sure growing up in music, we learned, you learn how to perform, you learn how to like kind of put yourself out there a bit and meet people and make meaningful connections. Obviously we learned how to play and sing. And maybe we wouldn't have learned that until later in our lives. I can't even imagine it, because music goes back on both sides of our family, multiple generations. So it's always been in the blood. But yeah, it's weird because we haven't necessarily used a ton of, like we play in totally different, a different demographic than the family band growing up. So even, you know, our family it feels like it's a different kind of track, but definitely similar roots. And I mean, it's like, obviously we wouldn't be here without our family support and all that they taught us since we were wee lasses. And but yeah, it's grown into a totally different thing. And we've toured with both. The family band hasn't really played much, obviously. All the festivals have been canceled and the jamborees that we're used to playing at, but we still have played with both kind of side by side through the years. So yeah, it's distinct, but obviously we have our hands in the same inspirations and support group for sure.
Yeah. I would say we owe a lot of, well, all of our mentorship and a lot of our skills, if not all, as performers and musicians to our family, our immediate family, and our grandparents, and all their support of us. And I think just having the name associated with us and with the family band has definitely sorry. I'm trying to say. Oh boy. I think that being associated with the family, Trudel family band, and that being associated with Jay and Joe Trudel, I think that's definitely given us a lot of support from the local community, and we are really appreciative of that as a legacy of our family and what that's laid the foundation of for us.
Cool. Mm-hmm. I'm always curious when I meet people who have been performing and doing things that are extraordinary, you know, since they were little. I'm always wondering if you guys, when you're growing up, did you know that it was really different and special being so, you know, embroiled in an industry that's kind of like, well, we like to do it, and obviously you loved it. That's why you're still doing it. Were you aware of how spectacular and special that was, or was it like, you know, it's like separate grandmas on Sunday, you just go and you do it and it's just part of what it is, or is it just, are you aware how cool it is?
I don't know if it's spectacular.
I think it is.
Thank you. I think once you try and do it, you realize it's quite mundane. It's really exciting and beautiful, and I really, really enjoy it, and I really love being in front of people. But there's a lot of not glamorous things. Most of it's like the practicing and the emailing. But yeah, I don't know. I remember I used to miss a lot of birthday parties when I was in elementary school because we had to go play shows somewhere. So that was what made me feel different. I wouldn't say it made me feel special, but it set you apart.
Yeah.
The awareness of something different. Yeah.
I remember also just like not really telling people at school. I feel like, you know, sometimes the bus, like the motorhome that we would tour with, would literally drive up to the school, and we would all hop on early. It's like not the most.
It wasn't really cool.
Yeah. And now I think back and I miss it so much. And I think there was like an endearing. You like act embarrassed and you're actually like, this is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And I miss it dearly now, of course, like with everything. And it really dropped off really quickly last year. So all of a sudden, and all of us are growing up now, you know, I got married last year in the fall, and like just lots has happened that all quickly we're all kind of finding ourselves further and further from each other geographically and just life circumstances. So I really miss it. And of course, people were so quick to tell us as kids at the gigs, you know, you guys can never forget what you have. And our grandparents followed us almost everywhere, and they had a different perspective too. Of course, it was lots of work for our parents, but they loved it as well, and we all miss it. So I'm really thankful that was our life. Hopefully it still is. I still would love to play with them a bit, but Time will tell.
So looking forward to the show we have coming up on the shows we have coming up on May 1st. Who wants to talk on the Recovering Hope? Because it's not the same show both times. So who would like to outline what people can expect with Recovering Hope?
Yeah, sure. So we're really excited, obviously, as we've said, about playing. So we really wanted to do as much playing as possible. And so for the matinee that we were able to do, thanks to you guys, we were just hoping or wanting to do something a little bit different. And we thought it would be like a cathartic experience for ourselves and the audience to kind of walk through the past year, and hopefully not in a entirely sorrowful and like a mournful way, but still a really honest way, because for a lot of people, if not everyone, it was a difficult experience, and people have lost things, if not loved ones, then jobs or friends or just a way of life, or lost the opportunity to celebrate things. So we wanted to walk the audience through our own personal experience in the last year, and hopefully they will find some things that they relate to, and we can just kind of celebrate and move forward together, hopefully.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. I do want to say that the matinee was your guys' idea. That was a really cool thing to add on. So thank you for doing that, because 2 shows in one day is hard. And I know it's not the same show both times, but it's twice the work. Absolutely. Maybe give a little plug to your piano player that's going to be helping you on that show too. Tell us about him a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So his name is Jesse Brown. He's way more famous than us, and he's way better than us.
Oh,
he's a dear friend, and he grew up around the same area as we did, so we grew up kind of knowing his family, and he's taken off. Like, I can't even really explain how well he's doing. He's like a Spotify guru, and he's well respected globally as a pianist and a composer, and we just managed to scoop him up for these shows. He's a really amazing person and a really gentle soul, a genius composer. So he just adds this like crazy multi-layered little artful brush strokes to like everything, the scaffolding that we kind of do. And there's just the 2 of us, so he'll add a lot. So I'm really, really excited that he was able to come and be there with us. And it's both of our home, like it's home country for all 3 of us. So yeah, we're really excited about that. He played on our album, the last album as well, and started a music video with us at the basement that we filmed at the basement in Saskatoon. Kind of during COVID, it was like this socially distanced little weird thing. So anyway, he's always up for an adventure. And yeah, we're really excited. Jesse Brown. Yeah.
Fantastic. And would you also like to kind of outline what the Victory Tour show is going to be like? I know we've kind of talked about the album, but maybe let's just remind people about what they can expect on that one, because that is the one that's live streamed, so people can still get in on that one. The other 2 shows are pretty much sold out. Well, the evening show is sold out, so I'll say that. As we're recording it, there's 1 sad little seat left for the matinee. So don't go looking for a friend or anything. Just, you have no excuse other than to come by yourself, because there's only 1 ticket left. So someone out there who hears this right now, as we're recording, we have 1 spot left. But there's lots of room on the live stream for the evening show. So what are people in for the Victory Tour show?
So this will be kind of the first time that we'll play these, like the new album stuff, in a proper show setting, a proper venue. So these are songs that are like relatively unheard, especially live. They mean a lot to us, and they've the meaning has just magnified since the last year. These songs have really deepened. It's cool that we're playing it so far after the release, because people have had a chance to kind of check it out, and these songs like hopefully mean something to the people that are hearing them live for the first time, which is usually really nerve-wracking. It'll still be nerve-wracking, but to play new songs in front of an audience for the first time, it's usually you don't record before you play, and we did the opposite. So yeah, it's really special. So I think we'll pretty much play the album. It's set up in a way that it supports a show well. There's like a good flow, and it follows a story. And then in between, we'll throw in a couple of favorites from our first album, and a couple covers that not exclusive, but that smaller matinee show would have heard some like really special covers that we put together for that show, and that kind of fall into the story of the last year and stuff. So yeah, it'll be really special. We're excited. Jesse will join us for that as well. Yeah, hopefully it's just a really fun time storytelling. We share a lot on stage. We laugh. Hopefully, yeah, it's always special playing to a smaller crowd as well. So even though we would have loved for a lot of people to be there, it's really cool. So yeah.
Excellent. Cool. And Jolissa, I'll give kind of you like the last word here too. What are you really looking forward to that whole day? Because 2 shows and they're quite different. So what are you really looking forward to yourself on that one?
Just to interact with people. Yeah, that's what I'm really craving these days. So I work at a daycare most days as a cook. And so I do see quite a bit of people, but they're usually under the age of 3. So
this is going to be different.
Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to seeing people and sharing with them. And yeah, good. I'm looking forward to a day that feels normal. And I hope that we have more days like that ahead.
Absolutely. So I want to thank you all. Thank both of you again for joining me for this interview. Thank you for taking your time. And again, if people want more information, they can visit earc.ca. We have a shows tab, and all the shows are listed there with information. You can watch a video. You can get a link for your live stream ticket to be bought. And just remember that your live stream ticket is pay whatever you want. So the price you pick to pay, half of it is going to these 2. So be generous. And thank you guys again. And we will be seeing you both on May 1st. I can't wait.
Can't wait. Thank you so much.
Thank you.